Welcome back to one of my favorite sports podcasts, Frizz and the Grizz, with your host Trudeau and my guy, Keith Frizzy Frizz.
Hello and welcome back to Frizz and the Grizz. It's your boy Trudeau. Thank you for joining us live Monday, June 2nd. Catch us live on Facebook or Twitch, preferably Twitch. Go to that platform, search the user at @dfrizzy_Frizz5. Follow us there. Or if you're only watching us live, if you don't want to watch the whole show, you got to dip out. Check us tomorrow on podcast, Apple, Spotify. You can catch the whole show there. If you go there, hook your boys up. Do us a favor, rate, subscribe, review, all those good things. Good show today. We took off last week. I forgot why. I think it was a me thing or you thing, whatever. It doesn't matter. We were off, which kind of worked out well, right? Because we got to see and digest the entirety of the Eastern and Western Conference playoffs. So we're here now prior to this NBA Finals tip. We're going to preview the finals. We're going to do a Frizz's 5, which is actually be a really good one today. Oh, you give me that look. You forgot we're doing one?
No. This is just a surprise.
Okay, I was like, damn, you forgot.
That quick.
And then we're going to recap the two teams just eliminated, the Timberwolves and the Knicks, kind of looking forward what is in their future. But first, you already heard his voice once. D, what it do?
What up? So I know you said you. What did we stop last week? Last week was a holiday, Memorial Day.
Right.
The main reason why. I don't even think we really did anything because it rained here. But dude, leading up to Memorial Day, you ever just take a weekend and just do yard work?
You good? Yeah, I've done that, man. It's the whole being an adult thing, especially once you get out for the first time to do all this shit at once. It is a pain in the ass. I'm assuming that's what you got, trapped into doing some dad shit all weekend. No fun as you're dying. Are you okay? Someone called the ambulance for D over there. He ain't gonna make it to the end of the show, folks.
That shit came out of nowhere, dog. I was just talking. I wasn't even eating anything. I'm about to die. Yeah, we did full mulch. Dog, chill out.
I've never seen you like this. You take off.
I am so sorry. My eyes are all watering. You want to restart again? We can. No, I'm joking.
Welcome back to Frizz and the Grizz. I'm just kidding. You got it, dog.
We did mulching. We put some stonework down. We had the house power washed, full adult shit.
Yeah, that sucks.
Miserable, but holy shit, that takes up a lot of time. It's a hell of a workout too. It was 55 bags of mulch.
You're serious over there.
Yeah,
my ass was a music festival on Memorial Day weekend chilling, and you're over here doing yard work like a grown ass man.
Adult shit. But no, it came out looking great. But yes, when you said, can we, I think I was out at her parents and I was like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get back in time for this. And I was like, not only do I think we're getting back in time, I'm exhausted. I hit the couch and was like, okay.
Honestly, this is better because now we can kind of talk about all of the occurrences over the past 2 weeks. But let's get into it then. But unless you die, we'll
I'm here for the long game, bro.
All right. If you do pass out, I'll just power through myself. All right. So we're going to preview the NBA Finals. The Finals is set. Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Indianapolis Pacers. First of all, D, if you told me back in, when does the season tip off? In October?
Third week of October.
Yeah. If you told me in October the Thunder would be in the finals, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. Pacers, did not see that one coming, but hey, they've earned it. It was not a fluke that they got here. How do you feel about this matchup? Just not X's and O's, not stats, just your personal buy-in as a fan.
I like this because what we typically see, and obviously we'll talk, other sports at some point. What we see in football is the immovable object and the unstoppable force. What you're getting right now is that in the NBA, the league's number one defense in OKC and the league's number one offense in Indiana.
Number one offense.
Yeah, they do. And when it comes to pace of play, yes, they have the number one offense.
Over the regular season?
I'm pretty sure in the playoffs.
I'll check. I don't think they have them. I actually think Oklahoma City has a faster pace in the playoffs. But continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. The reason why I say that is Indiana's played extremely efficient. They shoot a ton of threes, but they also play underneath the 3-point line. OKC, we've seen dominate people with just brute force defense, turnovers caused from every position 1 through 5. They get out on the break and they just spread the floor, make sure that somebody hits the shot. What we're seeing right now, from which I know people aren't going to really like it, but I could care less. We're seeing an unbelievable run from an MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What he's doing right now offensively is up there with the likes of people like Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, LeBron James. Like, his shooting efficiencies are incredible. His points per game, along with his assists, it's like it's helping this team be one of the best regular season teams. We said it too, the most disrespected 60-win team in the history of the sport. And then you have on the other side a guy that is not a superstar. We said he's a star, right? And all of a sudden he's just like, since you told me I was overrated. Hold on,
Frizz. You said that. You said that.
Yes, I still don't think he's a superstar. I think he's a all NBA type player, but superstars I think are LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. I don't think he's there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander there yet as a superstar. But what I'm saying is Halliburton is doing something where he's either going to go off for 40 and get 2 assists, or he's going to go off for 10 and get 30 assists. And then what he did against the Knicks was, I'm going to go off for 40, 10 assists, and 10 boards. Like, he's doing Jokic numbers at the point guard position that we really haven't seen as successful in a very, very long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of avenues I can go off there. I just want to strip it back just to the basics as far as watching this. I'm interested, right? I'm trying to think, would I be more interested if it was the Celtics with a healthy Tatum versus the Thunder, just like 2 juggernauts? Probably, but also this angle is kind of interesting to me because, going to the series, Oklahoma City is going to be heavily favored. And I think they're actually minus 750 to win the finals, which is insane. It's one of the biggest favorites I've ever seen in the finals. I think someone said statistically they're the biggest favorite since the Lakers against the 76ers.
Wow, that was a big one too.
Yeah,
that should have been a sweep.
Either that or they were the biggest favorite since the Pistons underdog actually won against the Lakers. But one of those huge underdogs. That's how lopsided this appears. I'm interested, at least in game 1. I'm super interested to see, like, can this be a thing? Can we see something improbable happen? Because Oklahoma City's gotten here by just being pure muscle and brute force, just better than everyone, roster-wise, coaching-wise. Indy's been really good, but it just feels like they have some sort of magical touch where it's like they're not winning by brute force. They're winning by playing frenetic, crazy basketball and combining that with some insane comebacks. So it's an exciting team. I'm excited to watch these finals. I'm sure people are going to make the narrative about ratings and small markets and stuff like that, but this is good to see different teams. And I'm curious what your thoughts are. We haven't seen a repeat champion in 7 years. We're seeing a lot of new teams crop up. These are 2 teams getting to the finals, both I think within 20 years if you're going to count OKC and the Sonics time. I guess
they got there in 2012.
You're right. It's been a while though since team won.
One is different than got there.
Yeah, no, but just getting there. I'm curious if there's going to be this sort of, I don't want to say randomness, but like multiple different teams getting to the finals with the new CBA and kind of how difficult it is to maintain and build. I think we're at the end of those eras where we had 3 superstars, the Heat, and then we had the Steph Curry and the Warriors. And we had LeBron and the Cavs, and there's these just big teams that just stole the spotlight for a long time. And I don't know, I kind of missed that a little bit. I know everyone bitched about it when it happened, but this is cool. This is new. This is different. But also, I kind of miss having the same kind of teams fighting for the crown every year.
I don't think that's over. I think you're going to see a flip in the way that GMs build teams now. I think these draft assets are going to be huge when it comes to developing your players from college. And then you get a star in the making in a trade because both of these teams did that exact thing, right? And I'm not saying that's going to flip the script for the entire league, but Indiana got they got their trade assets. Excuse me, they drafted their players, Nemard, McConnell, right? Is it McConnell? O'Connell.
He wasn't.
He
I
wasn't there.
believe McConnell was actually on those trust the process tanking 76ers teams.
Okay. Well, Nemard was drafted there.
Yeah.
Miles Stern, I'm pretty sure he was drafted there.
I believe
right?
so. He's been there for a while.
Yeah. And then so what you do is you build your team, right, internally. And then you trade for a superstar. With OKC, they were going to build, and then they had Paul George say, I want out. So they traded him. They brought in the star in the making, SGA. They drafted Chet. They drafted Jay Williams. They drafted pretty much all of their team. And then they got the guy that get them over the hump, which is an Alex Caruso. There's no major break the bank player on that team yet, right? On either one of these teams. Hallie's going to get paid. SGA is going to get paid. Chet's tier 2. Pascal, tier 2. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not those max contract. Everybody got a max. Austin Rivers could get a max contract. What I mean by is they're not that top tier max contract guy as your secondary player. And I think that's the reason why these teams have the depth to throw 9, 10, 11 people at you while your stars are gassed because they have nobody to spill them. We saw OKC do it to Jokic. He looked like, oh my God, what the hell am I supposed to be doing out here? We saw Indiana do it to New York outside of just Coach Tibbs running them into the ground. They were sucking wind in New York because of what was going on with the team that they're facing. So, and we saw the latest. It was one of the fastest 4-1 series I've ever seen. But Ant-Man did not look like him because of what OKC was able to do by throwing, like we said, 4 different defenders at him to make him uncomfortable for the entire series.
Yeah, it's interesting how both these teams got here as far as like how those teams are constructed. I think from Oklahoma City's vantage point, I think I want to say this. Indianapolis did it in a much more creative, difficult way. Like their front office even though everyone wants to give flowers to Sam Presti and OKC's front office, Indianapolis, their front office, absolute masterclass as far as getting their team built and where they are today. Both teams did it very differently. OKC kind of did a semi-tank and a teardown, right? They got SGA and they got lucky too because they were able to jump up in that draft and get pick number 2 and get Chet Ubetcha. They did get lucky. Maybe it was just scouting on getting their second star in Jalen.
You can't call that lucky though.
No, that was.
I'd say scouting is more than luck. Oh, that's the comment thing. Yeah, look at that. It's on the bottom of the screen. It's very small.
I would say this too. I want to give flowers to Indianapolis. And I also want to give flowers to my Orlando Magic in a negative way because the way Indy was constructed, right? They trade with Orlando, right? We gave them the right draft rights to Sabonis, which good job, Orlando Magic. They parlayed that into getting Tyrese Halliburton, right? So they take the 16th pick and parlay that to Tyrese Halliburton. They make the splashy trade to get Pascal Siakam, which was somewhat criticized, right?
Very, very criticized when it happened because of what they gave up for him.
They pick up a castaway from the Boston Celtics and Aaron Nesmith, who was just thrown aside, and he's made a good career for himself in Indianapolis. They pick up the carcass of TJ McConnell from the tanking 76ers. So it's like they never got lucky as far as getting high pick in the draft to like get a superstar shot. They always made the most of free agency, fringe trades, and picks, 8 through 15 in the draft.
They weren't ever a lottery, but they didn't miss the playoffs either.
If you told any team like the Bulls that this is possible to make the finals with just being crafty, without doing a full tank, it would blow their minds because a lot of teams are trying to do this, and it's very
The Bulls, the Hawks, the Kings, half
Yeah.
the damn league is trying to do this.
That's who Indy was, and they were able to successfully put every little piece together over year after year after year and stay the course. And shout out to them. I did want to just touch back a couple things. You mentioned SGA, and the remarkable thing with SGA, and I know you want to go into SGA in a little bit about in some detail, some statistics, is that he gets like 30 points, 31 points a night, and it's not like because he has a 40-point game one night or he has like a 50-point game one night that just bolsters up his raw stats. This man is
Going
a
off.
consistent like 28, 32, 28, 33, 30, 35, 31. Like he is just every single night comes to work and just is consistently delivering. There's never a single down night for this man. There might have been one or two playoff games that was not up to his standard this playoffs, but of the 16 games, I would say he's played probably 15 to 14 excellent games.
So he had a running line bet wise of like 100+ games of 15 points or more. That was broken this playoffs when with that blowout against Minnesota, where I think he didn't even play like the fourth quarter. He only had 14. That was broken. He's a bucket. He's been on this streak for a very, very long time of no, I'm gonna score 20. And well, I don't even think it was 15. I think it was 20. He's like, I'm getting my points. And the way that he does it, I don't care what anybody says about efficiencies. He does it in a way that brings you back to how people played in the 90s. He's not out there stretching the floor, shooting 10, 15 threes a game and hitting 5, where it's like, all right, cool. Like I hit 5, there's my 15 points. Like, no, he's drawing contact. Yes, he's getting to the free throw line, and I can't wait till we talk about that part. But he's getting effective points underneath the 3-point line. His mid-range and his post game is unbelievable. And the footwork that he has when he gets people underneath the 3-point line, like he gets people unbalanced and just finds a way to get an open mid-range shot all the time. And
it's difficult.
That's the thing is if what he plays is you go down and shoot a 3. Let's just say you make the first one. He goes, okay. He goes down, hits a mid-range. You go down, shoot a 3, miss it.
I don't disagree with
He's
that
gonna
comment.
go down. Yes, exactly. He goes down, shoots a mid-range. You go down, shoot a 3. He goes down, shoots a mid-range. And he's like, you keep chucking up those threes. I'm going to take my guaranteed bucket every single time.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to defend him. He's excellent mid-range shooter. I know it's a dying art, but it's not like he's not taking just pull-up mid-ranges, right?
He's working those.
If you go under the screen, he'll kill you with the mid-range shot. If you go over the screen, he's athletic enough and strong enough to get by you. And then if there's a big trying to cover, he's going to get the foul on the big. Like it is what it is. And I did want to talk about the foul free throw merchant allegations, because I know that's been thrown around the broadcast a lot, even by like Doris Burke and some of the NBA guys.
That pissed me off that day. But go ahead.
No, and I was curious, like, all right, is this actually a thing? And I have some stats which can back it up. I'll have to look up the team stats, but if you look at the overall team points, so NBA.com can break up the total points and how you score them. And there's a category about percentage of points generated off of free throws. I would have thought the Thunder, based on these allegations, would be far up the list. They're actually closer to the bottom for the season in the playoffs. So they're not generating their points mostly by free throws. So that's not the reason why they're winning games. Then if you look at individually throughout these playoffs, each player's free throw attempts per game, SGA is number 4. He's not the most egregious free throw merchant in the playoffs. Number 1 was Giannis. And again, we don't ding Giannis because he doesn't make a ton. So it's like, who cares? Followed by Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, SGA, and then very close behind him, within like 1 free throw attempt a game, was Jalen Brunson. So it's like there are plenty of guys in these playoffs who have taken more free throw attempts per game than SGA. And then a guy like Jalen Brunson, who's, in my opinion, a worse free throw merchant than SGA, is right behind him. And the one thing I would say too is like the way he generates free throws, SGA, It's not that disgusting style that we're used to with James Harden, where yes, he rips through like James Harden, and James Harden would just throw the ball in the air and look for the foul. SGA is trying to finish every shot. It's not like he's looking for for fouls. He's, oh, you're gonna foul me, I'm gonna make a bucket anyways.
100%. And I'll start this off by asking number wise, because you're the numbers guy. Of all time ranks at this juncture of the playoffs, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has, I think, 147 free throws. Where do you think that ranks in the history of the NBA for free throws leading into the NBA Finals? Free throws attempted leading into the NBA Finals. Do you think it's top 5, top 15, top 25? What do you think?
The only thing I would say from a statistical point of view
Mm-hmm.
is this stat's going to be flawed immediately, because are you saying free throws per game or total free throws?
Total free throws.
That's the thing. They did get here in 16 games. So it's not like there are going to be teams like the Celtics who like went to game 7 every round, and by the time they got to the finals they played 21 games. So you know what I mean? It's off there, but I would probably say based on only 16 games, probably not in the top 20.
44th.
Yeah.
44th. Meaning he has 7 games left, right? Hear me out on this one. You want to know the top 10? And I want to hear what anybody, obviously for anybody that listens tomorrow, if you want to throw it in our Facebook, anybody's listening to now, I want to know if anybody has ever called one of these dudes that are in the top 10 a free throw merchant. Dirk Nowitzki is number 1. Dwayne Wade, Kawhi Leonard, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Dirk Nowitzki, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Jerry West. What does SGA have in common with every single one of those players? We already talked about it. That works, obviously, but game-wise.
What are you looking for here?
Mid-range.
Okay.
All those players shoot underneath the three-point line, and they all attack the basket. I don't care what you say about Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk in the post was always trying to get that up in the air, get you the foul as he's shooting. That's how he played. Jerry West, we know that he attacked the rim because there's no three-point shot, obviously, back in the day. Michael Jordan, Kawhi Leonard, Kobe Bryant. All of these types of scorers are people that got their bread and butter underneath the three-point line, where the highest three-point percentage out of all of them is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is not a sniper. You don't think of Kawhi Leonard being a three-point shooter, right? And neither is SGA. So what I'm saying is, I know you're saying Celtics going 7. No, none of these names.
I'm just saying
any of those. I get what you mean.
You have to standardize the
these were numbers leading into the finals with. So do you think Jordan went 7? Never. I won't say never. Very limited did Jordan go 7. A lot of his series were 5. Let me hear this. He played in the era where round 1 was 5 games, best of 5. That changed like late 90s, where round 1 went to best of 7. So think of in 1988-89, Michael Jordan had 183 free throws attempted in less games. So miss me with this free throw merchant bullshit. Stop crying, stop fouling, play defense, learn how to defend somebody that can create, because that's exactly what he is. He's a shot creator, bringing the game away from the three-point line and getting effective, efficient buckets underneath the arc, in the painted area or right on the elbows, where we saw hundreds of Hall of Fame players live in there. Miss me with this three-point, I'm only shooting free throws.
I am curious
type of bullshit.
I am curious if the narrative is fueled by the idea that if Oklahoma City's defense is they're so good, they are able to play physical without fouling. So when you watch the game, it feels more jarring when you see SGA get calls and then the other teams not get calls. And it's not because the whistle or there's some sort of narrative by the league. It's just that Oklahoma City is that good at playing defense without committing fouls that it looks bad on paper, and visually this discrepancy in free throw attempts between two teams. Speaking of that, and I want to talk about the game itself and kind of preview the game, because we're 25 minutes deep and we haven't even previewed the game at this point.
We got a whole week for that.
Yeah. We have two teams. One is clearly by Vegas's predictions, very heavily favored to win this thing in Oklahoma City Thunder. I went through their statistics as far as their regular season statistics and their playoff statistics to kind of see if can we find any holes? Can we poke some holes in this team? It's fucking hard, dude. I remember last year we had the same exercise with the Celtics and kind of tried to find the Celtics weakness, and there wasn't a lot of holes, and they ended by winning the title. Um, I'm looking at some of their statistics from the season, plus minus. They were first in the league. Turnovers per game, first as far as limiting their turnovers. They were first in generating turnovers. So obviously, this is a thing that's been talked about in the playoffs a lot, where a lot of the offense by OKC is generated by your mistakes and them capitalizing those mistakes. They're first in assist to turnover ratio, so they're tight with the ball. They limit the opponent fast break points. They're the number one team in the league at stopping the opponent fast break. So like there was nothing glaring about Oklahoma City that really stood off. Here's two things I did notice though that could be interesting. Number one, they were actually pretty bad throughout the regular season in offensive rebounding and rebounding in general. They give up second chance points at a high rate, but I don't think Indy is the team to capitalize on that. You know who was the team to capitalize on that and almost did? The Denver
I was
Nuggets.
going to say the Nuggets, yeah.
Yeah, the Nuggets. And that's probably why they had an advantage there. And the only other thing that you could ding OKC is surprisingly, as the league moves towards the 3-point line, if you look at the percentage of the shots that OKC takes from the arc from three, they're actually on the lower end. They're more of the middle of the pack. So they're attacking more in the paint, in the mid range from the free throw line. This is all to say I have a theory of how Indianapolis could beat the Thunder. But what do you think about this team in general?
I don't want to say
Kevin's question. Yeah, OKC actually they defend fast breaks at the number one rate. We're limiting the opponent fast break points, and they also score fast break points at the highest in the league. So like they are good at stopping your fast break and also getting on the breaks themselves.
Yeah, and fast breaks aren't always just off of turnovers. You got to think if it's a missed shot in transition, you got three people in the paint trying to get an O board. It pops out to Chet, and he kicks it out to a 3-on-1 fast break the other way. So it doesn't always have to come off of a turnover. Points off of turnover is a little bit different than just fast break points recorded.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want this to be a blowout. I know, I really don't. I didn't want to wait till we got to the last week, the first week of June, and the NBA finals were set for it to be a 4-1 bludgeon. I don't want that. I think there's too much of a mystique behind what Tyrese Halliburton is doing as a point guard for that to happen. I know that who's the coach for the cast-off coach for Indiana?
Rick Carlisle.
Like he's getting another chance. You know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to make the most out of this team that he possibly can of Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, and Miles Turner, right? Like that three anywhere else in the league, I don't think wins an NBA is in the NBA finals. I think Rick Carlisle and the way that they've moved pieces around to match up when they drew this when they drew the Knicks, Indiana drew the Cavs, and then they drew the Bucks. Like they moved pieces around to be like, we don't give a shit who you are. I don't care what star you have. We're gonna beat the crap out of you. And they were able to do that. I don't think that they can match up against OKC like that, but I think they still have that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I still think it's. Are we giving predictions when you say that? Or are you just saying like where you think
predictions? But I have obviously I am with the Vegas odds saying
I don't think it's going to blow out.
Gun to my head though, who's winning the series? Oklahoma City.
It's OKC, yeah.
But I have a philosophy that I think Indy could potentially utilize to pull the upset.
An injury? Please don't say that.
No. So here's what I'm thinking. There's three elements. Number one, we need Aaron Nesmith healthy because he was the number one defender on Jalen Brunson and gave Brunson a hell of a time. Their best shot you're not going to stop SJ, but at least making him not the MVP is having a healthy Aaron Nesmith. Number two, right? We talked about this. Oklahoma City, they make their bread and butter. They butter their bread, I guess the expression, causing turnovers, whether it be steals, deflection, whatever. They capitalize on getting those points off of turnovers. If you watch them against the Wolves or against the Thunder, this is a team that actually struggles in the half court at times. I know SGA is fantastic, but this team can go through routes of 3-4 minutes of just anemic, gross half court offense where they just seem to not have an identity. If you can limit the turnovers, you have a chance to cut their offense down. Thankfully, for the Pacers, we talked about statistics. Through this playoff run, who is the number one team in assist to turnover ratio, D?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Indiana Pacers.
Indiana Pacers are number one. They are also number one in the playoffs as far as percentage of points created off of assist. So the biggest key for Indianapolis, control the ball, right? They need this team to generate offense, to pass the ball, move the ball. It's going to be hard against the Thunder, but if they can reduce the amount of turnovers, they can stay into the game this way. So this gives them at least keeping them in the game. Now, how do they win the game? Again, we talked about OKC. They don't like to take a ton of threes, right? They're playing fast break, mid-range, free throws. The most valuable point or shot in basketball, free throw.
Yeah.
Second most, layup. Third most, corner three.
Yeah. Corner three.
I'm saying this. Indy should come into this series acknowledging they're the underdog and build a game plan to take as many threes as possible. Turn the math in your favor, right? Because if you want to, right, let's think of the boxing terms, right? If you want to fight the best boxer in the world, you just want to jab with them, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Come into that fight and just throw your haymakers right off the bat. Because you know what? You might catch them one good time and you get the advantage. I want OKC take as many threes as possible. OKC, Indianapolis to take as many threes as possible, get that numbers advantage. Be careful with the ball so you don't give OKC easy offense. And then hopefully with a healthy Aaron Nesmith, you can at least make SGA look human. And I think that'll at least put you in a position where you have a chance mathematically to be in the series and win this.
That's the way that they beat New York. And in in that New York series, there was a time where I was like, ooh, the Pacers are playing down to the New York's pace, and that's not good. Where they could have caught them. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Just really quick with the pace because I forgot to mention this. You mentioned Indianapolis having the fastest pace to play in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy enough, they do not. You know who has the number one pace of play was the Memphis Grizzlies, but I think they were in there for like half a game.
Yeah.
Number two was the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the Thunder actually play faster than the Pacers. So you can't say speed the Thunder up because the Thunder are already at
how they play.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of their fast break points are geared into that pace of play because they're scoring in less than 8 seconds. So you got to think of that too. What I meant by it is there was not game one because game one went to overtime. I'm pretty sure, but I believe it was game 2 and game 3 where I was like, they lost game 3, but Indiana was playing. They were playing more of a style of letting Jalen Brunson cook in the paint. And when you do that, you're limiting the way that you play. And if you look at Indiana's efficiencies from 3-point line, they're the best shooting team in the NBA in the postseason, 3-point wise. I think it's over 40%. So they have to, as much as I talked about, they're going to take their twos and they're going to be efficient underneath the 3-point line. You are 100% correct. In order for Indiana to stay in this type of series, they have to go out there and launch their threes. They're shooting it at the best clip. They just got to hope that this week and a half break that they have, is it a week and a half? Just a week, right?
It actually starts Thursday.
Yeah. So this little bit of a break that they have, I'm hoping that doesn't cool them off. It gets, Nesmith back. Nembhard has to play the way that he's played because he's been an incredible piece as like a playmaking defender out there. And then you got to get the Hallie magic because like something is going on in Indiana for him to be able to play like he's playing.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't want that to fade off, but like he has to keep that. He's here now. He has arrived as a top dog player, a top point guard in position. Not saying he's the best point guard, but he's arrived as one of the best point guards in the league. He can't fall off the face of the earth and come back down to being the 15 and 8 per game. Like he's got to be up there with the, which is what he did against New York, which was like 25 plus and 10 assists every game.
Did we ever talk about the game? We didn't because it was against New York. We were off. I think he had 15 assists, no turnovers in a single game.
Yeah, stupid.
That's
Just
ridiculous.
Dumb. Like I said, I literally said it 2 weeks ago. He's either gonna go off for 40 and get 2 assists, or he's gonna go off for 10 and get 20 assists, but he's not gonna turn the ball over. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So I think we can agree SGA in the series is the best player.
Yes.
Would it be blasphemous to say I think the Indianapolis Pacers have the second and third best player coming to the series? Not like, for their whole career, but like right now at this moment.
No. I don't because again, we said
Are you agreeing with me?
I'm agreeing with yes, okay. Because I think Pascal and Tyrese are better than Chet. I think that's just what it is.
I think Chet had a better career. Let me put it that way. But like right now, at this moment.
Yes. And I think Jalen Williams
better career.
But Jalen Williams has had off and on nights. That's the part. That's the problem. Is he had off and on nights against Denver. What did we say when the playoffs started with Indiana? What you're going to get from Pascal Siakam? You're going to get 20 points, 10 rebounds every night. You get 20 points, 10 rebounds. That's just how he plays. At his peak, you get you 20 points, 10 rebounds. Tyrese Halliburton is playing above his peak, right? So, like, Chet has to elevate his game just a little bit. SGA is going to bring you MVP SGA. And Jalen Williams has to play better in this series. But it's not – there's nothing wrong with saying if you were to do a top 5 or top 6, it would be SGA, Tyrese, Pascal, Chet, Jalen. That order itself. Because everybody else is where there's just a lot of crap. We hope that everybody plays to their potential, but top 3 in this series, 2 of them are on the Indiana Pacers.
And I also am wondering, like, I'm just trying to think of ways Indy can win this thing. I know they did the how many feet of hell is it again?
84
feet of hell. I know they gave that to Jalen Brunson, and it's effective, man. It wears you down in a long series. I know Brunson's a little bit smaller. Can they just be pestering to SGA the entire series and get it to a place where it's like somebody else win this thing for OKC?
They're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
Because he's not only that, so Jalen Brunson is an ISO scorer. SGA is an ISO playmaker. Like the difference between the two. Like Jalen Brunson needs the ball to dribble out and try to find a spot. He's going to get it. He's going to get his 3, or he's going to find his mid-range. He's going to score. SGA knows what he's going to do, and you said it. You're either going to foul me because you have no idea what I'm going to do, or I'm going to score. Like, that's just what it is. And he's not going out there, pump fake, get you in the air and jump into you. He's going out there, shimmy, pump fake, you jump. He's going to try to get the shot off, and because you're in the air, you're going to freak out. You're going to slap him in the wrist, and he's going to hit the shot. Like that's what he's going to go out there and do.
So to recap for the Indianapolis side, because we do think, like, obviously they have a steep hill to climb to win this thing.
Yeah.
But for them to pull this off, they need a couple of things. This is our synopsis. Number 1, take care of the rock. Right? They need to have that premier assist to turnover ratio, because if they turn over the ball, they're cooked.
Oh, it's a wrap.
We need healthy Neesmith. We need some healthy defenders to at least make SJ look human. We need some Hallie magic, right? Because, like, they're going to need to win a game or 2 with just some incredible shit.
They're going to need to steal one, not even win. They can't just win the games they're supposed to win. They have to steal the game that they weren't.
One of the first 2, they need to steal one.
Yeah, game 1. We said at the very beginning of the show, like, not even beginning. And they have to take game 1.
And they need Pascal Siakam to play like a top 30 player in the world, like he did in the last series. If they do those things, I'm not even saying they will win the series, but they will at least have a chance.
Pascal needs to find a way to play like he did in the Toronto series against Golden State. Like, if you can get that Pascal Siakam where it's not just 20 and 10, I think he had a 40-point performance in one of those games. You get that out of him where he's stretching the floor and making Williams or Chet have to guard him on the perimeter, which allows Hallie to go and do what he's doing. Again, I am a firm believer. It's not even I don't want to put projection on the games yet. I think OKC is going to win this, and I'm not saying that Indiana has no shot. It's just it's going to be extremely difficult with just the way how good OKC is.
And then on the flip side, my keys to the game for OKC, assuming that Indy does all the things right, so it's difficult for OKC. They need to have at least a at least 2 great performances in the series from Chet and J-Dubs. Like,
Yeah.
each of those players need to have at least 2 great games. I don't care if it's at the same time, preferably different games, but they need to step up and be excellent at least 2 of the games. I'm not worried about SGA. And then finally, my key to the series for Oklahoma City is they need to absolutely crush the bench minutes, because this team is very deep. They are deeper than Indianapolis. Indy struggled with the depth on their bench against New York in the last series. I think in Game 5, TJ McConnell has really shrunken in the past couple games. Aaron, not Neesmith, Nembhard struggled as well. I think OKC has a huge bench advantage with guys like Casey Wallace coming off the bench. I don't know. I think Caruso's coming off the bench right now, right? He's not starting.
It's Caruso, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Lou Dort.
These are excellent players.
Those are starters, by the way, in the NBA.
Yeah. So I think for OKC to crush Indy under the most ideal situation for Indy, we need to have a big game from OKC's bench, because they're capable of going like +6, +8, +10, and really separating this lead out for them.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this: if if we're going to add to how Indiana can win this series, if Jalen Williams and Chet don't have those 2, maybe even 3 out of their mind types of games, I think if they only have 1, Indiana can win this series, because you're going to get the same numbers from Indiana every single night. That's just how they play, a model of consistency. And if you get the floor of Chet or the floor of Jalen Williams while SGA is trying to pull that team, that's when it's going to bite them in the ass, because again, there's some type of mystique in what's going on in Indiana for them. So if you get a game where SGA goes off for 40, Jalen goes off for 10, 12, and Chet's only got 8. But Pascal, Tyrese, and Miles Turner, they go off for 30, 20, 20. That's when it will bite you in the ass, and you go, damn, they stole this game. Oh, crap, we can play with them. Now the momentum has flipped. So I think that's a major key as to how Indiana can win this game, is you just have 2 games where Miles Turner and Pascal outperform Chet and Jalen. And then you get a stolen game from Tyrese hitting a crazy game winner like he's been doing the whole playoffs. And all of a sudden you're at Game 6, Game 7 because you stole 2 games.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
It's going to be – I don't think it's – so I think Vegas has the outcome, but I don't think Vegas has the games. I don't think it's like 130 to 110 every single game. I just think OKC has the benefit of – they have the chance of beating them, clearly, every game. And it's like a 1 to 2 possession game every game.
Game 1 is Thursday. I think Friday morning we'll know how this series is going to go.
Yeah.
Because if Game 1 is a beatdown, then it's going to look
like the bags, maybe.
This might be a gentleman's sweep, if not a sweep. But if God forbid the Pacers win Game 1, oh boy, we might be cooking.
The amount of pressure that will go on to OKC if Indiana rolls through them Game 1, it will literally change the entire. Not to say that they can't bounce back, but you give that team confidence. They got something strange going on there, that they just don't give a shit who they play.
Can you remember the last team that won a championship off vibes?
Detroit.
They had like an all-time greatest defense, like the best defense. Like,
but they didn't care about offense. Their vibe was, we're just gonna beat you down by playing our style of basketball. I don't think there's another team that's done that. Mavs had a great run, but like that was Dirk. I don't think that was a vibe thing. Toronto beat Golden State.
I want to say the Mavs and Dirk was like improbable. At the time.
Your microphone changed, by the way.
I'll have to fix it. It's probably coming out of my computer right now.
Yeah.
I'll fix it 1 second. With that being said, D, what is your prediction for the series?
Doing it already, huh? I'm saying 4-2 OKC. If Indiana wins Game 1, I think you could see a 4-3 Indiana. But I'm going to have to say 4-2 OKC with like a heartbreaker game 6 that could have been forced to a game 7.
Do I be disrespectful and go with what I really think, or do I?
You say 4-1, you're bugging.
I think it's a gentleman's sweep.
We don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I don't think what you're. It's not that like preposterous to say.
No.
Because again, I don't think we're gonna load. They're gonna load up, and you're gonna see 140 to 105. I don't think it's gonna be a blitz, but I can see every single game it being neck and neck, blow for blow when it comes to haymakers, and then OKC just finds the way to win. Like I could see that happening for 6 games, or in your case, 5.
It just feels like I hope the Pacers do this, but it has felt like they have gotten here on a lot of magic, and at some point you meet the big dog, and it just ends. All right, we'll see. I will say I was right with both predictions last round. I will say that, but we all both agreed that the Celtics would wipe the floor at the Knicks, and it's been a weird playoff. So who knows? Yeah. Anyways, D, you want to do a Frizz's 5?
Let's do this.
Prepare yourselves for the greatest and most unique segment in podcast history. Let's rank some stuff with D. It's time for Frizz's 5.
Woo! It's been a while since we did one of those, huh?
It's been a while, man. I look forward to the woo every time.
Back. All right. You want to tip them off as to what we're doing? You want me to intro?
Yeah, I'll let them know. Actually, let D know what we're doing this week. Usually D does his own Frizz's 5, but I had a good idea, I thought, at least. I've been super hyper fixated at the NBA playoffs. I think D as well. And on this podcast, on this show, we haven't talked about NFL or football in a long time, which if you've been following the show, we love football. So D has been peppering me over the past month, actually, via text, like of different things in the NFL and college football that we haven't talked about. So D has a compiled list of the top 5 happenstances, notable events, whatever you want to call it, from football, whether it be college or NFL, over the past, 6 weeks. Is that pretty
I think it was a good setup. I honestly missed the part with college. This is all NFL.
College if you want to.
No, you're good. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So, and just so people, again, normally when we do these types of lists, you have a whole bunch of animation behind it. Like I'm usually yelling and whatnot. No need for that today. This is more of like, hey, just a little bit of a recap. We'll see if you have any ideas or things that you've noticed, in this past 6 weeks, like you said, since the playoffs started.
I probably have zero thoughts. So you're going to inform me right now.
So first one that I'm going to go with, number 5, is, are halfbacks getting paid back?
Did a bunch of guys get like new contracts?
Yeah, so Saquon is now the highest paid running back in the history of the NFL. We've seen Derrick Henry sign his extension of $20 million a year.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like there's running backs that are getting paid. I say that because like the next wave of running back, like a Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously he has the chance for him to get paid. Like people may start to, I won't say break the bank, but you may now see running backs go from $7-8 million a year to 12 to 15. And if you're gonna say that a 50% increase, is that a 50 or is that 100%? How you say that? If you go from 7 to 15,
that's 100%. It's a double.
Okay, so if you go double, if you double your salary just based off of performance, like how can we say that that's not like a big topic? Like I don't think that running backs are ever going to get to the 20-25 like a wide receiver or a quarterback 35-55. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But if we can have a couple of great seasons from people like Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, these like little, not older running backs, but just veteran running backs that have been around for 5 to 6 years, who's to say that this next wave of back, you guys that are coming out of college right now can't be like, yeah, maybe I can make that second or even third contract because of the way that these guys are playing now.
Okay. Solid 4. I didn't know about those contracts. Thank you.
Yeah, an interesting one. Always when we talk about football, we got to talk about America's team. So number 4, I'm going to go with the Cowboys are making moves, but they're not really making moves.
I don't know what that means, D.
What I'm saying is, so they brought in, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they brought in the kid from Pittsburgh, the wide receiver from Pittsburgh that always had the problems. I'm sorry.
Pickens.
George Pickens. They brought in George Pickens. But that was it. They have literally done nothing to address any of their issues financially, meaning in the next year, they have to pay Dak, they have to pay CD again, and they have to pay not Myles Garrett, the other kid.
Micah Parsons.
Like the Cowboys to me they want to stay relevant by making a splash, getting George Pickens. Yeah, they got a secondary wide receiver. But they're paying him. Do I have to pay 3 studs? I just don't understand what Jerry Jones is doing. I don't think anybody's ever going to understand what Jerry Jones is doing. It goes back and forth. They just lost their running back to Tennessee. Pollard went obviously 2 years ago, but like they lost another running back that they had last year.
Was it Rico Dowell was a running back?
Rico Dowell is no longer their running back.
I don't know who's on that team.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. They're making moves, but they're not making moves. They're doing the thing that makes you go, oh yeah, let them print that in the newspaper. But like it's not going to help them get wins in the NFC Championship. Like it's not going to do any of that. So again, they're just so that you know, nothing has changed in Dallas. They're still doing stupid shit.
So your number 4 of off-season occurrences, nothing happened in Dallas.
Absolutely nothing in Dallas. Yes, model of consistency. Number 3, I'm going with a big shout out to rookies in the OTAs this past week. So I'll save my biggest shout out for my last one because I know people obviously want to talk about that one. But Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, and Ashton Genty, they've looked incredible. And I know that Travis Hunter should, right? Like he goes back and forth between a corner or a wide out. But like just seeing him be able to be creative I like this, the solo. Seeing him be able to be creative out there at both positions. It's awesome, right? I'm watching it. I still have NFL Network out there, so I'm still watching these guys do their thing. Genty looks like a stud. Abdul Carter hadn't had anything really as an issue since he's been with the Giants. And then there's names like I think it's Tet McMillan, the wide receiver for Carolina. Like Bryce has a new tool, which is great. Jalen Walker has done his thing in Atlanta. Will Campbell with the retiring of David Andrews in New England. I'm pretty sure you've heard about that on radio if you're listening. But David Andrews is retiring for the Patriots. So, like, you bring in a Will Campbell who's looked like a stud. Like, it's good to see that these rookies are actually doing work. A lot of the times you see people fail. Unfortunately, the one that's not doing the most work is Mason Graham. He was the defensive tackle that was taken from Michigan, from Cleveland. So, like, Cleveland, they're trying their best to, do what they can with these. But, like, they might have missed with Mason Graham being at number 5.
What happened with him?
He's just not looking... He's not looking like a top 5 pick.
Okay.
He's making mistakes. That I know it's just OTAs, training camp, and all that. Mini camp hasn't really started, but he just didn't really shine the way that that like Abdul Carter did. You'd watch his film and go, "Yep, that's the reason why he was the number 3 pick."
Yeah. Well, only thing I have to add is I watched a couple of highlights of Travis Hunter running drills with wide receivers. It was with Brian Thomas Jr. He was quick, man. He was smoking them in on these drills as far as just like athleticism. It's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what you got for number 2?
Number 2, I hate it, but it is what it is. What the hell is going on up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Look, so Mike Tomlin is what you want out of a head coach. I'm not ready to say that the well has gone dry when it comes to the way that he coaches, but it's starting to get there, right? There's a little bit of drip of water left. They don't have a quarterback still, right? They let, if you want to say potential future face, and Justin Fields walk. Russell Wilson is no longer the quarterback there. They're going into camp, at least with their OTAs, with Will Howard, Mason Rudolph in his second stint with them, and Skylar Thompson. They're letting Aaron Rodgers hold them by the balls when it comes to like what they might actually do. And they address none of those positions when it comes to something that they should have done in the draft. I don't count Will Howard as addressing a quarterback position. So like, yes, another potential season of the steel curtain and Mike Tomlin potentially making the playoffs. But like, how do you move on from Pickens, not bring in a quarterback, and just expect to get better when you're going up against the I know it's the Browns, but you're going up against the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens. Like you're supposed to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're supposed to be the team that is competing for championships, and it's just looking like another 8-7, 9-8 season. And it's like it's sad to watch because Tomlin's a better coach than this.
Yeah, I've seen some theories about what's going on. I think there's some validity to it. So it's going to be Rodgers in Pittsburgh, and the idea is that there's kind of an agreement, like, hey, you know, he's got some family stuff, or he's got something going on. He's doing some stuff right now. He's going to be away from the team, and there's kind of an understanding, like, hey, whenever you're done with whatever you got to do, like, just come and join us, and we'll sign you now. And I think the hesitation with Rodgers is that he had some sort of similar situation. You know, he brought it upon himself. He like went and did ayahuasca, or whatever, and left the team with the Jets. I don't know. He was just gone. Remember at the start of training camp? And he didn't like the way it was perceived by the media and stuff, like that he was away from the team. Like, granted, he did it to himself though. But like, granted, like the team was like okay with it, but it was a bad look. So he's just like, hey, I want to do whatever I got to do now, so I can just like be uncommitted and not on your team. But like when I'm done, I will sign, and then like I'll be all done with you guys. So like it's kind of a move for him to just avoid like criticism of being like, oh, he's on the Steelers. Where's Aaron Rodgers? You know what I mean? That sort of talking head stuff.
Even still, like I said, he's got them by the balls. This is a 42-year-old quarterback coming off of an Achilles injury 2 years ago and an okay second half of the season. But the first half, he looked like shit. Like, again, I don't like to see the league is better when the Steelers are great. Like, it's great for football to see Pittsburgh versus Baltimore in like a collision course for a division or a potential conference championship.
All I got to say is I don't care who's a quarterback, whether it's Mason Rudolph or Duck Hodges or Darian Furr, like they'll get 9 wins. Like they'll do their thing.
They will 100%. All right, my number one, because again, I don't even really need a drum roll for this, but you can build a drum roll if you want. I can't wait to you motherfuckers that have talked shit about Shedeur Sanders eat crow, because I have heard nothing but positive, not even critiques, positive encouragement, enlightenment, any big E word that you want to throw out there on how fucking phenomenal he has looked at OTAs. When he throws the ball, people go, he was a top 5 pick. So whatever fucking reason was the reason why he didn't become a first rounder and all 32 teams passed on him, and then Dylan Gabriel got drafted, and then they drafted him after. I cannot wait until this kid takes the league over, because post-draft, he's done nothing but be the exact model citizen and quarterback that you should be getting when you draft a top 10 quarterback. So him being a 5th-round QB, and he just gets to go out there, beat the shit out of Dylan Gabriel because he looks he looks like a fucking rock star compared to Dylan Gabriel out there side by side. Then he has to worry about Joe Flacco. No, by week 4, the crowd is going to be like, get this motherfucker in. We know how good he is. He's not a 5th-round talent. They're going to be forced to play him, and he's going to make everybody that has talked shit about him just shut the fuck up and watch him be a great quarterback. I know I don't usually go off with like cursing for this, but like if you haven't watched how good he's been in camp, you need to, because he's looking dominant right now. Why you do that? That doesn't even make sense.
Because I'm a hater.
I know, but no, dead ass though. I know you're not going to watch NFL Network and so on and so forth. He looks good.
That's going to be the mountain you plant your flagpole in, and
this is going to be just as much as me saying Lamar Jackson deserves. I'm going
to clip this shit in like 3 years from now when he's out of the league. I'm like, remember this?
There's no chance. Absolutely no. He looks good. Like pads, no pads, whatever you want to say. He looks good.
I was hoping you'd give me some info. Like, did the tush push get banned? I don't even know. Did that get banned?
No, the tush push didn't get banned. Okay. People were crying. They needed 22 votes. They got 17. Teams that like voted against it were like, of course, the Saints. They're like, fuck you guys. Like, find a way to fix it. The Bucks, I think, were another team, obviously. So kudos to them. I think there was only 2 NFC teams that did it. Everybody, all the AFC teams, the Patriots were another one. The Dolphins teams were just like, guys, just figure out a way to stop it. Brock Purdy obviously is up there for getting paid, Mr. Irrelevant. We went over the whole 49ers thing last week, actually, or 2 weeks ago. So not really much outside of those like topics, but looking forward to see what happens in the next couple of weeks, especially when minicamp actually starts.
All right, let's transition and quickly just recap some of the teams that have been booted from the playoffs. We did this last time we met with the 4 teams that lost in semifinals.
Yep.
We'll do real quick rat-tat-tat because we are getting late. Eastern Conference final loser, New York Knicks, kind of like where do we go from here? I'm looking at their salary cap table right now. And this is not the graphic I wanted, but I think they are pretty deep into salary hell. I have to double check. This is the table I want. So for 2005, 2025 to 2026, they're at 194 million. That is over
180.
Over the 180 mark for the. I have to double check the actual number, but they're over the first apron. Carl Towns is going to pay 53. So their big salaries are Carl Towns 53, OG shade under 40, Jalen Brunson 35, and then Mikal Bridges 25, and it kind of dips off from there to not much left. Where does this team go, D? I would just say this, and part of the question to you. I've seen some memes about the Knicks as far as should they pull the Band-Aid and do the hard move, and the meme was directed at a certain team up in Toronto with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. We also saw how that team year after year after year ran into LeBronto and got kicked out, and they finally pulled off the Band-Aid, got rid of DeMar, brought in Kawhi, they won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Brings me to the question to you is like, can this Brunson and Towns thing work long term? And I only say this because both not known to be great defenders. This team struggles defensively at both points of attack, whether it be at the top of the key, in the paint, right? There's 2 liabilities where a team can get by Brunson and then cats at the rim. Like, what are you doing there? So does this team have to make some radical changes in your opinion?
Yes. And I don't like to say it, but because I don't want to be like drastic. And I know there's Knicks fans out there that are potentially listening, so please don't shoot me for this one. But you have to, because of the defensive part that you just mentioned. Those teams out east, they're not getting any slower. They're not attacking the rim less or shooting threes less. Like, they're going to do that, and they're going to come back tougher next season. The plus minus with, like, I think it was Cat and Brunson on the court was like negative 30. Like on the court together. It's incredibly bad, unfortunately. So if they run this back, they're going to come across the same problem. They're going to come across a team that just has a better offense than them, interior and exterior, interior and at the three-point line. And they're just not going to have the horses to be able to stay with them. New York built their team to beat Boston. They didn't build their team to beat everybody else in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, and if you had to pull the plug on this, like, this is crazy, but like, would you ever consider jettisoning,
Genocide?
you know,
Getting
rid of New York's prodigy son?
You can't. His contract that he has, you would never.
Good contract,
a phenomenal contract. You wouldn't keep. You wouldn't keep Cat to get rid of Brunson.
The thing is, though, like Cat's value is probably not as high as you would like it.
Right, but they kept Kyle Lowry in Toronto, and DeMar DeRozan had a higher value than Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look to see like what they have as far as.
I think the moves that you make if you're New York is you can't get rid of Bridges because of all the draft capital that you just got rid of. You just gave up for him.
This is what they have left for draft capital. I'm trying to see. They don't have pretty much shit. They have their own pick in 2026, which they can't trade. They have Washington's pick, but it's top 10 protected, which is not going to go to them. And then they have a bunch of 2s and their own picks that they can't trade because it's locked. Like, they have nothing to trade.
It has to be Cat. I don't know how you find a way to get it. I mean, the number one thing that we see that everybody's talking about is Giannis.
Can I tell you something that I heard today that I thought was juicy?
Mm-hmm.
It was on the Bill Simmons podcast. They floated the idea, hypothetically. Do you think Phoenix picks up the phone if we're like, hey, we know KD doesn't want to be on our team. Like, we'll take a shot in the dark at a 1-year rental. Would you be interested in Karl Anthony Towns to pair with his like best friend in Devin Booker and have a younger 1-2 to build around?
I don't see that being a problem.
Do you think
I don't think that's outside of the realm of
do you
like
think both teams would be like, I could do this?
Yeah, because KD wanted to play in New York a couple of years ago.
That would be interesting. Can you imagine KD on that team?
It'd be great. It doesn't address your defensive issues, but it would bring more points, more of an efficient point scorer to your team, and it would make Jalen Brunson be your 1B, because I don't think Jalen Brunson is the best player on a championship team. I think he can be a great performer like a Jaylen Brown on a championship team, but I don't think Jaylen Brown is winning the Celtics an NBA championship, just like I don't think Jalen Brunson is winning the Knicks one. He's got to be like the second best player on the team, but like not as like a number 2. He's just got to be an all NBA player that happens to have another all NBA player right next to him.
What are you doing if you're the president of basketball operations of the Knicks?
Finding a way to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's
easier said than done, though.
True, but if you can't get it Giannis, and you're saying that this is a potential floated idea of throwing Cat out to out to Phoenix, he's going to resign there. Cat's going to sign anywhere that he can get the most money. I don't see him going outside of Phoenix if he's playing with Devin Booker. Did they play at Kentucky together?
They're just like good friends. I don't know.
But I'm saying, were they at that?
They may have. I don't know,
because I know that they had Kentucky flooded the NBA with players for a good amount of time.
I mean, if they could find a way to get Giannis, that'd be cool. I would assume they'd have to have a third team to get a shit ton of draft picks.
That's what everybody has said. Yeah.
I don't know. I think, crazily enough, maybe you try to run it back with some fringe changes.
You can't,
just because hear me out, though, the East is going to be pretty weak, right? Celtics are going to be down. Your biggest competition is going to be the Pacers in the East. Maybe the Cavs come back strong, but it's like Cavs, Knicks, and Pacers are going to be the best 3 teams in the East next year. But here's one thing though, like I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it will happen.
Don't forget about the Pistons. You sleep on the Pistons.
I'm not. I still think Knicks are better than the Pistons. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it should happen. I know Tibbs got to the conference finals, but I wouldn't be.
He's gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was still booted.
You can't. So look, what is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. He did this in Chicago. Nothing changed. He did this in Minnesota, right? He was in Minnesota, right? Was he in Minnesota? Yes. He did this in Minnesota with Jimmy Butler and all them. Nothing changed. He's doing the exact same shit in New York. He runs and look, you want to stick to your guns, that's fine. You're not Bill Belichick, right? Like you're not like some guru that like found a way to win championships with a defensive mentality and then finding a quarterback that can run your team. Like you can't expect 6-7 NBA players to successfully run up against teams that go 9, 10, and 11 deep in the playoffs. You can't do it. It failed in Chicago. We saw one of the greatest injuries and potential careers that like got changed in Derrick Rose because of his style of play. We saw Jimmy Butler, Cat, I can't remember who the third person was at the time. There was somebody else that was in Minnesota. But we saw that team fail and because of the same thing. And now we're here in New York. Like everybody's got the philosophies. That's not what the NBA is right now. The NBA is not 6-man deep. It's 7, 8, 9 because depth is what's going to win championships.
All right, let's shift our focus away from the Knicks and just cover the last team for today in the Minnesota Timberwolves. All right. A team that wasn't really close at all against the Thunder, gentleman sweep there. I'm looking at their cap table for next year. We just mentioned that the first apron is $195 million. They have Julius Randle and Naz Reid with player options, and I assume they'll decline those player options to look for more money. Let's just say, in best case scenario for Minnesota, they accepted the player options and took less money. They're still at $193 million guaranteed next year. So they're pressed up against it and will likely go over it. They have some tough decisions to make, right? Do you re-sign Julius Randle? Do you, it's a player option. So like, do you resign or do you let him walk? Do you try to sign and trade? Do you resign Nas Reed at a bigger number? Like, I don't think both of those players can come back. Nikhil Alexander Walker played a pretty pivotal role for them. He's expiring contract. They have a lot of decisions to make this offseason. D, I will ask you this first. Like, if you were in charge of the Timberwolves, like, what are you looking at as far as like where to go next with this team?
You got to go one of two directions. You're either sinking your future into Ant and McDaniels and then getting depth around those two, or you're just expected to be mediocre with Ant, Gobert, and Julius Randle. Because if you pay Randle, you're not going to be able to keep everybody else. They're just gone, which means you are now in the dying league of 3 players that are high salary and potentially fill out your roster. That's dying. So if you want to be behind the wave of waiting, because Julius Randle proved that he's a good player, right? He had a good playoffs. I'm not going to say that he was like all NBA, but like 21 and I think it was 21 and 6 throughout these playoffs. So this is good. Not mad at that, but it's not enough, right? And if you're if you're not thinking, if you don't think that that's enough, you got to get rid of it, and you got to sink all of your assets into building around your younger talent, which is Ant Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, because he's a 3-and-D wing. Now you have to find that third piece, but that third piece is a veteran big that's going to help in the defensive area, and you got to move on from Gobert. You got to get him out of there.
They're kind of fucked.
They're not in the best spot at all. That loss was eye-opening because you said the East is getting weaker. The West is getting fucking stronger.
Yeah.
Like that the West, if you've been to the conference championship back-to-back seasons, this is when you say your window is closing because you ran your chance now. Right? Like you had to have won one of these because it can close like this. And they had their chance. Houston is not going anywhere. OKC is not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what Denver does. They're not going anywhere. So like you're making it harder for yourself because you didn't at least make this a competitive series to make the decision easy. Oh, we lost in 7. Just bring everybody back. Find some pieces here. So they weren't even fucking close.
The problem with the Timberwolves, just looking at their roster, is like you're saying, oh, just let Julius Randle walk or like get rid of Julius Randle. It's tough with that.
I was going to say sign and trade. I'd rather that.
But I'm looking at their cap table. It's like it's tough, right? Because like you can't.
Did they get Bird with Julius? He hasn't been there for 2 years.
I'm trying to think that you can retain bird rights if you trade for a player, so they would have his bird rights.
Okay.
My only point is like I don't think you can realistically keep both Randle or Randle's replacement and Nas Reed unless you're like going to go way over the cap. Maybe they do, but like let's say you get rid of Randle. Randle's like so pivotal because outside of Anthony Edwards, I'm looking at their roster like there's no other
score.
Yes, there's no other offense.
That's why I said you have to bank around Jaden. You have to get rid of
Jaden's not even that type of player. That's the thing.
He's not, but you have to. He's got to develop into one. And an opportunity is maybe he can't, but like an opportunity, a 21 to 22 points per game is no longer there. You need to take your sorry ass 12 and elevate that to 18. 18 the year after has to go to 20. That's what has to happen.
Maybe. I mean, he's 24, so he has time to develop. But like, I don't know if his game is like a well-rounded, like a full rounded NBA game. Like he's an elite defender.
You know what's gonna happen? I end up like if they don't figure it out, and I end up like the kid Fox in Sacramento. Spark for a couple of years. I love Anthony Edwards, but I'm saying that team couldn't stick to. What I'm saying is that team couldn't stick together because their window closed. Sacramento was relevant for like 2-3 years, and they lost. They got blitzed.
So
and I had to break up the team because of it. And I don't want that to happen to Anthony Edwards because he's a far better player than De'Aaron Fox. I'm not saying that they're on the same level. I'm saying that team constructed, it's not going to stick together.
My question would be like, all right, here's what we're going to do if I'm in charge of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
San Antonio is going to be better next year.
I'm stuck with Gobert. Like, I'm not moving him. Like, I would love to, but I can't. Like, no one's going to want him right now unless I'm tagging along valuable shit because just his salary and his productivity. I kind of want to re-sign Naz Reid if I can get him under like a reasonable number. Can I get Naz Reid for 23 million a year, 25 million a year?
What is he, 6 man last year?
Yeah.
Like his value is not getting. It's not getting cheaper.
I can't get to 30. Like I just can't. Can I sign and trade Randall for someone that's a little bit cheaper, just to balance the salary? Can I dump Mike Conley off my books?
He's done.
He's still on contract next year for $10 million.
He's retiring.
I would love that if I could just get him to retire. That's great. Their outs are like make some interesting moves, maybe get some players to take discounted values like a Naz Reid, and then hope that the guy that you drafted and traded up for and Rob Dillingham can step up and be one of those scoring options that you need. You're desperately in need of scoring.
A 6-foot point guard, no.
He's in college though. He did show like
I love the talent.
Yeah.
I don't love the player in the NBA. I just don't.
It's tough to look at this Timberwolves team and feel like, yeah, this team absolutely has a path to being great and being a finals team. It feels like they peaked last year, even though like they're making it just as far this year. It feels like they peaked last year and they're now like kind of tailing off.
That window closes like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
like a cold breeze in the wintertime.
I was thinking this, and we'll finish off with this is with Gobert. I know you hate Gobert so much. Can you explain this to me? And I was, we just talked about the next two. How is Julius Randle different than Gobert?
I don't think they are.
They're the same player. And one's getting paid like $35 million, and one's Julius. And not Julius Randle. Excuse me. I was talking about not Julius Randle. How is Gobert any different than Mitchell Robinson? Excuse me.
I thought you meant under for me.
Rudy Gobert.
Oh, they're not. That's even better of a comparison. They're not. You have to take them out at the end of the games. You have to take them out in certain situations where you're down because he can't provide offense. Like they're not different. He just happened to be the next big that needed to be paid. That's all that happened to Gobert. Like he won Defensive Player in the Year because he did this. Like I don't even think he really led the league in blocks. Like he just is this 7 foot, and we had to give it to somebody. Like no.
Honestly, I think I'd rather have Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson can have some type of offensive game.
He's got dog in him too.
Rudy Gobert only has a 30-point game in him when he's playing the fucking Lakers. That's it. Like he literally doesn't do it against anybody else. Man. He just goes, "Oh, this is the game I'm gonna eat," and then anybody else, he's like, "This is the game that I'm just gonna get rebounds." And he didn't even do that in the playoffs. He had 8 rebounds a game. You're 7-footer. How do you not averaging 10 or more?
All right, let's closing take real quick and get the fuck out of here.
The show is coming to an end. But first, it's time to get to anything we've missed. It's closing time. 1 segment, 2 takes. Now go.
All right, closing takes is a chance for me and D to get off one last shot of the game. A little iso ball action. I'm going to go first, D. Oh, that's not you. That's not me. That's you. All right, I'm going to go first. We talked on this team not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. I want to just do a quick check-in on our beloved Colorado Rockies, D, because they are still fighting to be the worst team in MLB history. D, we are about 60 games into the MLB season. They play 162 games, so that means statistically, D, we're about 33% done with the MLB season. Our Colorado Rockies, as of this recording, they're up right now. They have 9 wins. They have 9 wins in about 3 months of baseball at this point. Their winning percentage is 15%. Their run differential, they have been outscored so far to this point in the season by 185 runs. This is the worst team I have ever seen. And just for perspective, The next closest run differential is the Athletics at minus 110. So they are almost twice as bad as the next worst team. I think we're on pace for history. Oh, they won tonight. Good for them. They have 10 wins now. Congratulations, Rockies.
They're beating pace.
10-50 though right now. I think they're going to beat the record set last year by the Chicago White Sox to now take the throne as the worst team in baseball history.
That's not even the worst team in baseball history. Let me
Oh,
hit you
there's
with some stats.
The worst team in the modern era.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say
starting in 1900.
not including the one that I liked when I saw it. I was like, oh, this is definitely something to bring up. Talk about the 1899 Cleveland Spiders.
Yeah.
20 wins and 134 fucking losses. That would be insane. That's a lot of losses. Like, I know we talk sports, obviously. We talk a lot of football. I've been on some winless college football teams. Like, it happened. But I ain't never lost 130 games. Like, that is, I don't know if I've collectively lost that many games in all the sports that I've played since I've been a kid.
There was a funny story I heard a couple months ago about and I'll just be brief about this. There was these two college baseball programs, and one was on a 75 game losing streak, and the other one was on like a 45 game losing streak, and they met up in a matchup.
A fucking toilet bowl.
Yeah. It made me think of that.
Get that win, baby. All right. Last one for me. I don't even really need an ISO ball. Just, I can't wait because I know it's right around the corner. There's something that's gonna grab our attention in this ugly ass summer that we have right around the corner when basketball is over, because it's just baseball and golf. College football, July 10th, 2026 is being released. I can't wait.
That's when the podcast ends again.
That is when more time and more effort is going to be sunk into one of my favorite games in the history of video games, a college football game provided you by EA Sports. So again, I don't need an ISO ball for this, just so that you guys know we are less than 6 weeks away. Pre-order if you get a chance. It is now cross-platform, so those that have Xbox, if you want to join your boy in his GGN league, I know I don't talk too much about it on here. Got my own Discord. It's a fun time. It's honestly, we talked about like offline games that like it's more of an enjoyable experience because like I'm not comp anymore. Like I got a wife and kids. Like I got responsibilities. I'm not on the game as much as I used to. College football is a game that like I can kick back and just enjoy playing. So like again, a couple of weeks away, July 10th for those that are ready for it. I can't wait, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoy it.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. I was thinking for the summer, one of the shows we should do is we should try to do some redrafts.
We can do that. Also, so you guys know it is a mark in history. So we talked about this. I'm not gonna get all sappy, but we talked about this off air. This is the notebook. You know how what's his name in Blue's Clues? What's his name? Not
Steve.
Phil. Steve. Steve has a little green book. And he always wrote in that little green book, and he always wrote his note. He always drew like the little thing for a little picture for Blue. This is my little green book. This is the playbook from the Water Boy that got Coach Red Bull U his job. Like that's it right here. This is the mecca of August 8th, 2022, and it is being retired because it is now filled. We have, for coming up on 3 years, been able to bring to you guys joy, entertainment, terrible takes, but we could give two shits, arguments, all the above, and we were able to do it for coming up on 3 years. The 3-year celebration is going to be amazing, but this notebook is being retired, and I have to go buy a new one.
For the 3-year celebration, I got to do two things. Number one, put down a compilation of every time you say some shit and I repeat it afterwards. You're like, are you fucking listening to me?
When the hosts aren't listening, it should be literally a segment that we have.
I got to make a compilation of that. I also want to make a compilation of every time you're like, what's the name from Blue's Clues? And I give you a name, just like every time you're looking for a name, just like shout her name at you.
So it's when we're not listening, names that we forget, and times that I yell for Al. When
I love the Al. Al.
Yeah. Al. Just like you can hear her.
Look too ready. It's just look ready.
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit. She'll come in here and slap me on camera.
All right, do you get us out of here?
Good times, good times. Hey, there's none of these. We don't need the
I hit 2 buttons at once. That was weird.
But hey, we appreciate you guys being here. Sharky, appreciate you chatting with us. Anybody else that was able to watch live or catch us tomorrow, you know where to find us. If we are live, catch us on YouTube, catch us on Facebook, or your boy on Twitch, _Frizz5. I might even get rid of that 5 at some point. Just be _Frizz. Website is usually at the bottom as well. Check us out. Frizzandgrizz.com. We're not on Blue Sky. We're not on Twitter. None of those things anymore. I think we might actually make an Instagram. I'm thinking about doing that for us just to have some clips. But if you want to catch us tomorrow, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever it is that you find your podcast, catch us when we go, going to work in the morning, something like that. Please, 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 as we are wrapping this show up, I always say it, be a friend. Say something nice. You never know what it could do for someone. Make sure y'all take care of y'all mentals, take care of y'all physicals, take care of y'all chicken, take care of y'all children, and we'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.
Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid.